see up there, we've had our first snow. Just wanted to take a quick look up here. Looks like we've now transitioned from the leaves and debris falling. As you can see up there, we've had our first snow. Just wanted to take a quick look up here. Looks like we've now transitioned from the leaves and debris falling off the trees. Most of the trees now have lost their leaves, so we don't have that threat anymore, but now we have the threat of snow and ice and freezing rain. So this is literally the first day that we've had snow, last night, and just wanted to take a quick look at the gutters here on the north side to kind of show you what's happening, because one of the biggest comment periods we get from people is in the winter when you have the buildup of ice dams and snow and what have you in the gutters. So naturally, because we've got gutter guards on top of all these systems, there's no way for the snow and ice to get inside the gutter, so that's good news. But there's an opportunity for the snow and ice to build up on top of the gutter guard and then do whatever it's going to do. So whether that's icicles forming on the edge of the gutter guards, ice forming on top of the gutter guard surface, or ice forming on the face of the gutter. Any one of those are possibilities when you have a gutter guard installed. So people want to believe that icicles won't form, but I can guarantee you that they will. So if we just look quickly from left to right, what we have here is the clean mesh system, and you can see there are no icicles per se. You can see a little bit of buildup on top of the gutter guard, but you can see the ice, the water that has dripped down the face of the gutter and then frozen in place. So you've got little icicles forming from the base of the gutter surface there. But I think what that really shows you is how water can transfer off that system. So imagine if it were 80 degrees out and it was raining, you would probably see the same sort of pattern forming, or a similar pattern forming, with the water coming off the gutter guard surface onto the face of the gutter and then dripping off the bottom. So in this case, it has frozen into place, but you can see the pattern. So there's essentially a bank of streaks here, there's a bank of streaks over here, and it's the combination of that that is allowing that water to kind of drip off onto the face of the gutter and then form these little icicles. Now, that's nothing to worry about at this point. It's just an observation. Next one we have is the gutter glove product, and you can see here definitely a similar situation. The water has dripped down the face of the gutter, and it's dripped off at the bottom and then eventually froze. Here you actually have a few icicles that have formed on top of the gutter guard surface. So if we think about this 2 days ago, it was relatively warm outside. Yesterday it cooled down, and then we started to get some snow, but it was mostly just scattered flurries throughout the day. And then it must have gotten a little more intense last night. Here we are looking at the leaf lock system, pretty much similar. Now what we have here is the addition of leaves and debris, pine needles still sitting on top of that surface. So you can see what happens when the debris is still sitting up there. The water just follows that path, drips off the edge, and is forming little icicles. There's a little blast to the face. So there's not much really on the face of the gutter forming. Oh, maybe there's a little bit. There's like 3 or 4 little areas where water has actually clung to the face of the gutter, and then it actually, in this case, came down the downspout. You can see it's formed just a minuscule little bump of an icicle there, but most of what you're seeing coming off the top is because we still have the debris sitting on top of there. So it's just formed at the edge of the leaves and pine needles, and it's working its way off the top. The next system is leaf solution. Leaf solution Also has some water that's dripping down the face of the gutter and then dripping off the bottom, so that's similar to the Clean Mesh and the Gutter Glove Easy On product. So not much to report there. If you come over, we've got leaf filter. Leaf filter, nothing really forming on the face of the gutter, but you do, because you still have debris sitting up on top of that system. Again, you've got debris that is, or icicles that are forming on the debris, kind of following that path off the face of the gutter and then dripping off the edge. So again, you can see there's nothing on the face of the gutter itself, no dripping, no water forming on the face of the gutter, nothing dripping off the bottom of it. And then the last one here is Master Shield. That too has nothing on the face of the gutter. You just have little icicles forming at the edge of the gutter guard. So here you can see just a handful, 8 or 10 little icicles forming off that drip edge, but that drip edge is still doing an effective job keeping the water off the face of the gutter. So that is the north side of the garage here on December 1st, 2020. Now I'm on the south side of the garage, and we have kind of a similar situation. This is looking at the Master Shield system. We've got some little icicles that are forming on the drip edge of that system. So you can, if I kind of come from this angle, you can see there's nothing sticking to the face of the gutter. There's nothing dripping from the bottom of the gutter. You just have these little icicles that have formed at that drip edge that hangs past the face of the gutter. So that's pretty typical of what you would expect in this case. If we look at the next system, which is leaf filter, there are no real icicles forming on the drip edge here. There is ice forming on the drip edge, and if you look up there, you can see that grayer looking ice. Really, it's nothing but ice. So where it's melted at the front. I think the primary difference between these two is the Master Shield's made out of aluminum, which is naturally going to get colder than the vinyl, the PVC or plastic that the leaf filter is made from. So, well, that's going to drop in temperature. It's not necessarily going to drop in temperature at the same rate that the metal would. So as a result, you have less of the icicles forming on top of this one. Now the difference between the south side of the garage and the north side of the garage is the north side still has a bunch of leaves and pine needles sitting on top of it, whereas this side is mostly clear. So because you don't have that additional material sitting on top of the gutter guard, we just have the snow and ice that is forming on the top of it. But what you do have that you didn't have on the north side is you can see how the water is dripping down the face of the gutter, and then it's beating off the bottom, or in this case it dripped off the bottom till it froze. So you've got just those little tiny icicles that are forming on this system. So if you look between the two, the Master Shield, you have little icicles forming but nothing really touching the face of the gutter or the underside of the gutter, whereas here you don't have the icicles forming, but it's all touching, it's rolling down the face of the gutter and coming off the bottom of the gutter. The next system is the Gutter Glove Pro. Just kind of looking at these systems, that one's got a decent buildup of snow and ice on the top of it. Here you can see a combination of little water droplets and then some of the water that's come across the face of the gutter and is dripping off the bottom and forming into little tiny icicles. So again, none of these are anything to worry about at this point. It's more or less just an observation to show you how the water flows off these systems once they get overwhelmed. And in this particular case, you've got some water clinging to the face of the gutter and then dripping off the bottom. Next system is leaf lock, similar to the gutter glove. It's actually kind of a hybrid maybe, because you've got the water that's come over the face of the gutter and dripping off the bottom in forms of little icicles there. And then actually there's a pine needle. That's interesting. It's kind of encapsulated right up there. There's just a lone few pine needles up there, 2 or 3 of them, and you can see how the water has formed around the pine needle itself, and then it is frozen, and what now looks like little icicles just kind of dangling off the edge of the gutter. So that's happening there in 2 or 3 places. So it does show you when you have the debris up there, how the water will just follow that path around it. In this case, it froze overnight. The next system is the diamond pattern screen. This one looks pretty good. You got some buildup here in the middle, right over the downspout. And then again, you've got a little bit of pine needle debris here dangling over in a couple of spots. And so ice is formed around those pine needles, and it's just dangling off the edge there. So that one's doing a good job. And then the last one you can see is the leaf-free system, the solid gutter cover. So you can see how the snow and ice is kind of formed on the top side of that, and then it's left the opening, that dark line going across the horizontally across the gutter. There is some ice and dirt buildup on that, but that opening is still relatively free and clear from this vantage point. So theoretically, the water, as it's, instead of just hitting the face of the gutter and coming down, it's going to follow that nose inside the gutter and then you know, stay off the face of the gutter. However, with that said, if you look over here to the right, as I zoom in, you'll see where some of that water has come over the face of the gutter, and it is formed at the bottom. So it's dripped. It didn't make its way in, or it came off the leading edge of the gutter there and came around the face of the gutter and then dripped off the bottom, just like you've seen on some of the micro mesh systems. So this is all the different systems on the south side of the garage, December 1st, 2020. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe buttons and ding the bell, and you'll be notified the next time we upload a video.